The last draw of Jedidiah Cross. He used to say a man's soul could be measured by the weight of his gun belt, and Jedidiah Cross's soul had grown mighty heavy. They called him the preacher of Powder Creek, though he hadn't always been a preacher. Once, he was faster than Billy the Kid, and meaner than a drunk Doc Holliday. Jedidiah had drifted from Texas to Tombstone with a Colt 45 on his hip and whiskey in his blood, chasing one thing after another. Money, women, and the next man foolish enough to test his draw. He was 24 when he gunned down his own best friend, a man named Luke Avery, over a poker hand and a lie told in anger. The bullet took Luke's life, but the silence that followed took Jedidiah's peace. For years, he couldn't sleep without hearing that shot echo in his head. He kept moving, thinking if he rode far enough west, maybe guilt couldn't track him. But sin's a better tracker than any bounty hunter. He ended up in a mining town called Redemption Bluff, a place that didn't live up to its name. He was sitting in a saloon, nursing cheap bourbon, when an old circuit rider walked in. Dusty boots, white beard, eyes that looked like they'd seen God and hell both. The preacher sat down beside him and said, "Son, I've heard your name whispered like a curse all across this territory. But heaven's whispering it too, like a prayer." Jedidiah laughed. He said, "Preacher, I've sent more men to hell than you've sent to heaven." The old man looked at him and said softly, "Then it's about time you evened the count." That night, a blizzard rolled through, sharp as razors, white as judgment. The preacher's horse broke a leg, and Jedidiah, out of some flicker of decency he thought long dead, offered to lead him to the next town. They made camp under a rock bluff. The wind screamed, and the preacher started to cough, a deep, tearing sound that didn't stop. By dawn, the man was fading. He pressed his Bible into Jedidiah's hands and said, "God don't call the righteous, son. He calls the ready." Then he died, with a peace Jedidiah had never known. That morning, Jedidiah buried him in the snow, built a crude cross from his rifle stock, and rode away, lighter somehow, though the same revolver hung at his side. Weeks later, word reached him that a band of outlaws had taken a church hostage in Dry Creek. The sheriff was dead, and the townsfolk were trapped inside. Something in Jedidiah, something the preacher had awakened, snapped to attention. He rode through the night, snow burning his face, that Bible wedged under his arm like a loaded gun. By dawn, he stood outside the church doors, calling the gang leader by name, a man he once rode with. "I ain't here to kill you," Jedidiah shouted, "but I will if I have to." Gunfire answered. When it was over, 6 men lay dead, and Jedidiah Cross was bleeding out on the steps of the church. The townsfolk found him clutching that old Bible, whispering something through blood and breath. "Tell him, I found it." "Found what?" someone asked. He smiled weakly. "Peace." Then he was gone, a gunslinger who had finally holstered his soul. They buried him next to the church, under a headstone that read, "Jedidiah Cross, once a killer, now a child of God." And for years after, travelers said that on quiet nights, when the wind passed through Dry Creek, you could hear the sound of a hammer cocking, then silence. Because Jedidiah Cross, the deadliest draw in the West, had finally met the only one faster than him.